Welcome. Thunk.ai is an enterprise platform for high reliability AI agentic automation. There are a couple of key differentiators about this platform. One is you do not need expert software engineers or AI experts to build an agentic automation. Developers are a bottleneck and take a lot of time to build custom agentic automation. Instead, with Thunk.ai, your process owners, your business users, your domain experts can rapidly build and define agentic workflows that the platform runs. The second differentiator is the platform by its design, its application model, and its runtime implementation biases towards high reliability workflows, which is what you need when you automate important business processes. While the platform is horizontal and can support a wide variety of different automated workflows, our focus here is on workflows for the financial services industry. So let's go talk about that. As part of the platform, we provide a bunch of starting points, starting workflows for various scenarios of the financial services industry. The reasons for this are in particular that for banks and financial institutions, there are many processes that are painfully manual today. These processes often involve the investigation of transactions for potentially economic crimes, and this comes with a lot of cost, risk, and compliance needs, regulatory needs. Any decisions made have to be auditable, and the reasoning's got to be clear. And therefore, this ends up being a painful manual task that human investigators have to spend a lot of time and energy on. This is a great opportunity for AI agents to automate much of the work and improve productivity. In particular, one of the lighthouse use cases is around taking alerts of anti-money laundering activity or potential AML activity and having AI agents explore and investigate those alerts. Let's look at that more closely. Here's a description of the alert triage process for anti-money laundering alerts and potentially the drafting of suspicious activity reports. Every financial institution receives alerts through automatic systems around transactions that might be indicative of economic crime. Some of these are filtered automatically, but many of them are escalated as alerts to human investigators. The kind of workflow we might want for an AI agentic system to assist in this scenario is something like this. Do an intake of the basic alert, collect a bunch of information about this customer involved, the historical behavior, peer groups, put that all together so that investigative reasoning can happen based on some rules and typologies, put together a recommended disposition of the alert, if necessary, draft a suspicious activity report according to standard guidelines, and then put that in front of a human being for review and approval. Let's see how this kind of flow is implemented on the Thunk.ai platform. What you're looking at here is one AI automated workflow application on the Thunk. This is a demonstration, but it is reflective of the kind of AML alert workflow any particular bank might put into production with some customization and refinement. Every one of these applications, workflow applications, a basic workflow plan. Here's the particular one we have here. It comes an alert with some properties. The first step of the workflow is to do intake, just gather information that was provided. And here are the instructions. It is not software code, but rather it is natural language instruction. It says here's what you should do. And in fact, it references an AML intake and procedure document. Let's look at that briefly. This document is pretty sparse for the purposes of this demo. It just says follow standard procedures and provides some other information. In practice, this could be more detailed. The next step is to assemble context, including the profile, the historical behavior, peer group comparisons, and any prior alerts. To do this, this information has to come from other internal business systems and databases. And so in practice, a workflow like this would be connected to those systems at a financial institution. For the purposes of this demo, all of that information is mocked so that the demo can proceed. The third step is to conduct investigative reasoning based on various typologies, red flags, etc., referencing a rules and categories document. Let's look at that document. Again, a simple one for the purposes of the demo. It describes various rules and categories, descriptions of what's allowed and what's not, threshold amounts, etc. That provides the guidance for this step for the investigative reasoning. Step 4 is a recommended disposition for this alert based on all the information collected. Step 5 drafts a suspicious activity report if needed, and that follows certain guidelines, which are also described in the document. Here is the structure of a desired structure of a suspicious activity report and the narrative guidelines explaining that things should be clearly described, the what and the why and the participants, etc. And finally, there's a step for human review and approval because, of course, you don't want AI making all of the decisions. You'd like humans in the loop to make some of these decisions. Now let's go look at how this workflow runs. Of course, it can run across many alerts. Let's just go look at one that has been run through already. In this demo, we've run through about 10 of them. Let's look at one. Here was the alert that came in for some particular customer with a timestamp and a couple of transactions that have been flagged. The platform has a workflow orchestrator. It runs the steps of the workflow we just saw on each alert. So it's run the first step of the workflow, and to do that, it's utilized an AI agent to actually execute the logic. So these are the results of the alert intake. The instructions were provided on that input, and they were run using an AI agent that utilized the Gemini 3.0 Flash model to get the work done. There's a record, a trail. We sometimes call that an AI fingerprint of how exactly that was done, and that's for the reasons of auditability. But the outcomes are what matter. In this case, the outcomes are this information was extracted about the alert. In step 2, all of those various internal systems which have further information were looked up automatically by the AI agent just based on those simple instructions to put together the customer profile, information about prior alerts, historical behavior, peer group comparison, etc. So these are the building blocks that will then go into step 3, the investigative reasoning. This is the investigative reasoning report that describes the typology that applies, the customer context, the peer and historical analysis, the conclusion, and the regulatory basis. Now, based on this, step 4, a recommended disposition, red, yellow, or green. We could find some other system. We picked a simple one. And a disposition rationale based on all the information collected and the rules defined. Finally, next step, a suspicious activity report is constructed by the AI agent based on the instructions again, and based on all of this information to describe all of the collected data, who the subject is, what the summary is, and the detailed narrative, because that's what is presented then to the human investigator to decide whether to proceed or not. And that's step 6 in the human review. Of course, some aspect of this could be automated as well, though often a financial institution might want to have a human approve this really important step. This is the flow for any one alert. And of course, this can run hundreds of alerts or thousands of alerts concurrently in parallel, processing them all, and each alert is handled differently, but in accordance with the workflow and the instruction in the workflow. Let me briefly go back to the description of the platform. Yes, it's useful for a financial institution to have an agentic workflow that can process AML alerts. It's useful that they can be built rapidly and can go into production with high reliability. But it's also important to know that this platform has enterprise-grade security. The Thunk.ai platform is SOC 2. Typically, the platform will deploy as a private instance inside your hyperscaler cloud tenant. Thunk.ai is a strategic partner of Google Cloud and works really closely with Google Cloud customers. This platform can be a private instance deployed into your Google Cloud tenant. It can also work with other hyperscalers like AWS and Azure when required. The platform is a Gartner-recognized leader and is proven at scale at other enterprise customers. Thank you for watching this video.